Hi guys, welcome back to Race 07 and the double header weekend here at Brands Hatch for rounds 12 and 13 of the 1992 British Touring Car Championship. And it's going to be a close one. Myself and Tim Harvey are tied on points with 100 at the moment. Let's have a quick look at the session info for this weekend. The ambient temperature 26 with track 27, and the forecast is hopefully going to be dry for both races this weekend. Now, before we get started though, I will be saying with only 4 rounds to go, it's coming up to the end of the season, and I will be migrating everything over to GTR2 for next year. I still don't know, however, what year I'm going to be participating in, and that is where you guys come in. You can pick between 1991, 92, 93, 94, all the way up to the year 2000. So pick whichever mod you want me to do, and I will do a championship for next year using that mod. I think I can actually go up to 2001, 2 and 3 as well, with another additional couple of mods thrown in there as well. So whatever you guys want me to use, I will use for the next year, and then we can create a calendar around that for next season, which is all well and good. So yeah, cast your votes, tell me what year you want me to do, and I shall do it. Right then, we are in qualifying. As you can hear in the background, everyone is setting their lap times. I am just sitting in the pits, idly twiddling my thumbs, waiting for it to end. So with that, let's join RynoGT4 for the Gridwalk of round 12 of the 1992 SORAC British Touring Car Championship.
Alright, and here's the starting grid for our first race of this weekend. Taking the pole position will be Will Hoy in the Toyota Carina, just beating out John Clelland's Vauxhall by only 2/100ths of a second. Second row, we see Andy Rouse in the Toyota and Steve Soper in the first of the BMWs. Jeff Allen will start the race in 5th position in row number 3 alongside Tim Harvey, our joint point leader. 7th place belongs to Keith O'Dore, and alongside him it will be David Leslie. Our 5th row, we have Andy Middlehurst, and rounding out the top 10 of the starting grid will be Ian Flux. Lots of BMW badges here towards the back of the grid, as on row 6 we have Ray Bellm and Carl Jones. Row number 7 is made up of the BMWs of Tim Sugden and Alain Menu. Starting 15th will be Lawrence Bristow, and 16th will be the Vauxhall of Bobby Verdon-Rowe. And rounding out the grid, in 17th position will be Dan Bartlett in the lone Peugeot. So there's your starting grid. Now let's head to the track for the start of round number 12.
And here we go then, the start of round 12, just running through the grid once again. I don't need to tell you who everyone is, because you already can see, and already know from the grid walk. Starting our lowly Peugeot Talbot Sport at the back. Nice dry conditions, 32 degrees ambient temperature. As the announcer sounds like he is commentating on a horse race. And he's coming up on the inside, coming up on the outside, and he's won. Okay then. Ram it in the first, clutch in. The revs rise as round 12 is underway. Just put the welly in and get going. Now hopefully we shouldn't have any issues with cars rolling because of the updated tyre files I was received from Andreas. I'm just going to take it a bit cautiously through turns 1 and 2 to make sure everyone does get through cleanly and does behave. And they seem to have done quite nicely. So already up 3 positions from our starting. And Ian Flux is next on our target. Oh no, that's not Ian Flux, sorry, that is Carl Jones in the BMW. Getting a little bit of understeer. Quite possibly due to the tyres not up to temperature as yet. It takes about 2 to 3 laps to get the tyres up to optimum temperature. And who is that? That is Alain Menu going up on the inside. Ooh, late braking. Take the position back, thank you. Oh, this is risky going through the curve, and we get the position. And the BMW ahead getting a little bit squirrely as we heading into Clark Curve. So far so good though, no incidents as such. And we're currently 13 seconds, or sorry, not 13 seconds, we're 13th position, 7 seconds behind the race leader. Can I duck up the inside of Ray Belm? Not quite, he closes the door. Ooh, and a little nudge. Luckily it didn't do any damage to either of our cars, but very aggressive driving going through Jim Clark Curve. Graham Hill Curve, Graham Hill, Ben, I forgot the name already. Oh well, not to worry. It's a corner, it's a turn that is named something that I can't quite remember, and a bit too much late braking. Talking too much bullshittery again and missed my braking opportunity. That wasn't cutting the track, that was going a bit wide. Okay, now time to get past Tim Sugden if we can. As he puts on the brakes, which he needn't do at this part of the course. That has made me go a bit squirrely. Stick it into third. Should get a good drive coming out of Clark Curve. Onto the pit straight. And now we just have Andy Middlehurst ahead. We're now 9.4 seconds behind the race leader. In 11th position. And a drag race going down to the turn whose name I've forgotten. Is it Graham Hill Bend? I can't bloody remember. I know this one's Clark Curve. It's just the other ones. They just completely slipped my mind. I remember them, and then immediately my brain just farts and malfunctions and becomes recalcitrant and doesn't obey to what I'm saying. Anyway, 12 seconds now behind the race leader. We seem to have a bit of issue with understeer currently. The car doesn't want to behave as well as it should. That could have been because of the wheel spin at the start of the race. I might have just given myself a little bit more tyre wear than should be at this early stage. Can we get a good run? Going on to the pit straight and get past Middlehurst? Not quite. That's the way to do it. Under braking, going through Druids. And another position is ours. Now we just got to catch up to the rest. It seems like the new tyres have actually increased performance for the AI drivers on this track. They are pulling away hand over fist. And we're still at the points currently, but I am suffering major understeer. Tim Harvey, my title rival, is in 7th. Ian Flux, 9th. 7 seconds behind, and I'm 13.5 seconds behind in 10th position. And you can see just how much understeer I have going into the corner. Turn the wheel, but the car does not follow. Ah, we see someone in our sights anyway. I think that might be Keith O'Dore. We'll soon see once we get close enough. Or when I go over the start-finish line. And it is indeed Keith O'Dore. Oh no, it's not, it's the Influx. My mistake. 12.6 seconds behind. I made up about a second after 3 laps. Or 2 laps or whatever, and the car still won't turn. I definitely think that the new tyre thaws has increased the tyre degradation just a slight little bit to make it a bit harder. But that's okay. Always wanted a nice challenge. Oh, no, oh. Sod now. Yep, and the car is now turning to the left, to the right even. Well, that might help me going through these corners. Just one wheel on the grass, and that is all it takes for you to lose traction and then just go completely off the circuit. Now, you could go into the pits to try and fix the damage, but I think we'll go a lap down, and that's not something I want to risk doing. I just carried a bit too much speed going through Clark, and that was it basically. Put one wheel on the grass and the rest of the gravity took over basically. But that's okay, we're not losing too much time, which is a plus point, and now, you know, we can take the corner still relatively quick as we used to. And we are getting a bit more cornering ability going through these right-handers because the car is now pushing towards the right. Left-handers not so much. But with that, with the suspension damage on the front left, that is actually going to cause a bit of tyre deg on the left front tyre, which will cause a bit more understeer. And as you can hear, the car is wobbling a bit, the handling isn't straight, the tracking is out. So I've probably done some damage to the suspension, the tracking rod, the toe-in and camber. And everyone up front is in a nice tight bunch. The top 8 is only 4 seconds apart. And there they are, you can see him coming out of Druids. So I think they've probably caught up with Lawrence Bristow. He's the main back marker of the field. And I think it's slowing them down a bit, which is ideal for us with this suspension damage. We could probably catch up and maybe gain 1 or 2 positions, maybe even get into the points. Because currently we are not in the points, we're I think, what, 10th? And again, that understeer plaguing us going through the right-handers. Oh, there we go again. That wasn't as bad as previously, but it's still... This understeer is getting a lot worse. As you can see, just trying to go right. And the car has none of it at all. It's refusing. Thing is, I don't want to brake too hard going into the corners, otherwise it will lock the front left. And too much damage and it will cause a puncture, which will just basically end the race. But we are losing a lot of time. We're 18 seconds now behind the leader. So 9 seconds behind Ian Flux in the BMW. I don't think we're going to score any points this time by, which would be rather unfortunate. Get off the grass. I mean, I am trying to keep the car straight going on the main front and back straight, but it is pushing a lot to the right. Which you would think would make it handle a lot easier around right-handers, but because of the tyre damage on the front left, because of the damaged suspension, it's actually making the car understeer tremendously. As you can see, the car just doesn't turn at all, it's just heading straight off. And under braking especially is a bit of a pain. Ah, come on. Come on. Pull it together, Jesus Christ. So, who's leading currently? Will Hoy, John Cleland, and Andy Rouse, the top 3. "21 seconds now off the lead. And we have to slow down so much going through these corners. I think I'm just trying too hard because I know for a fact we're getting close to the end of the season. Myself and Harvey, we're tied on points at the moment. And I'm just trying too hard to try and make up as many track positions as possible to try and get the best opportunity to win the few remaining races and get a nice points lead. But we will lose the points lead at this round, but it won't be over many points. It will only be by a handful, say 10 or 12 points, if that. My lines are all over the place, but I'm just trying to keep the car central to the track. Following the racing lines at the moment seems to fail. Very, very tight. Going through Clark Curve. I think we're almost at the end of this race, and I think we've got a couple of laps to go. And rather disappointingly, we're not going to score any points, I feel. Unless something drastic happens, but I'm not sure that it will. The handling is all completely messed up. The tyre degradation is huge. And we have no grip at all on the front end. We're just wheel spinning coming out of the corners. And there we go. Race is over. Checker flag is out on the bottom left. So we're going to bring it home in a lowly 10th position. No points for us this weekend. Or this race anyway. Race 1 of 2. We still got the race tomorrow. But, yeah. And there we go then, 24 points for Andy Rouse, 18 for Will Hoy, and John Cleland gets 12 points for 3rd place. Tim Harvey moved up into 6th, so he gets another 6 points, so he's now going to be on 106 points, and I'm going to be 100, so only 6 points behind, so this is not disastrous, it's not the end of the world. We still got the race tomorrow as well for round 13, so, yeah, it's not too bad. I'm not worried at this stage. Let's have a look at the timing, and Lawrence Bristow was indeed a lap down on the rest of the field with an average speed of 78.78. So incredibly slow. Where was I? 10th. So I had 81.42. So I was basically middle of the pack. But oh well. I did actually make up. I was 19 seconds off the pace. I was 23, like a couple of laps before the end. So I did actually make up a lot of time at the end of the race, but I think they might have been catching up to more back markers at that stage. And yes, as you can see, the point standings at this stage incredibly close for the top, what was it, the top 5. 106 for Tim Harvey, myself on 100. Steve Soper has 96, 94 for Will Hoy, and Andy Rice also on 94, 90 for John Cleland in 6th place overall. Lawrence Bristow only 10 points in his career, so he is not going to come anywhere in the championship. But yeah, 16 points covers the top 6 with 3 races to go. And the constructors, 100 points to 188. 200, I can't read that properly, 230 to 456. And of course Nissan, we're overtaking Nissan, that is a good thing, seeing as we're in a lone Peugeot. That is pretty damn good. BMW have basically won the Constructors though for this season, that's no big surprise. And yes, the next race is round 13, which will happen tomorrow. Hopefully we won't damage our suspension and come out of the points, but we will see. So yeah, bit of a disappointing result, but again, we're only 6 points behind the lead. 3 races to go, anything can happen. So I will see you all tomorrow for round 13 of the championship, with only 2 rounds to go after that. So yeah, getting very close and very exciting for the top. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow for round 13 at Brands Hatch. Take care.